Last Epoch is a top-down ARPG that broke out onto the scene earlier this year, and upon release, players flocked to this new competitor in the top-down ARPG space, and the game was generally well received. And after a brief time with the game myself in early access, I quickly realized the potential of this game. For an introduction and more of an overview of the game, you can click on this link right here to check out my first video I ever put out on Last Epoch. Recently, I posted a poll on my YouTube channel asking, what sets Last Epoch apart from other ARPGs? And after receiving some votes, I wanted to leverage what you, the community, voted as a way to structure this video. Coming in as the winner of this poll at 50%, we have class design. Now, I can't say I'm surprised by this because class design to me is the single most important thing when it comes to top-down ARPGs. And in Last Epoch's case, I think it's its leading strength. Each of the 5 classes have 3 masteries to choose from, each one providing a different feel and combat experience. I personally have played a Rune Master Mage, a Void Knight Sentinel, a Marksman Rogue, and a little bit of a Shaman Primalist. All of these classes play so wildly different, yet maintain viability and produce exciting gameplays respectively. Class design in Last Epoch revolves around your passive and ability skill trees, as well as the forging of your gear. The crafting is actually quite straightforward and easy to learn, but we're gonna go over the crafting a little bit more later. The real magic happens with the skill trees. The ability skill trees in Last Epoch are very digestible and easy to navigate. The branching nodes are well described and produce plenty of variety and flexibility. This is where the game truly sets itself apart from its competitors. As a friend of the channel and reputable Last Epoch player, Carrie Annette states on our poll, the way you can customize your skills in the skill trees is the biggest draw for me. Every time I look through the skill trees, it gives me new ideas for more crazy builds. Like today, when I decided to try to build a fire blade dancer, and I'm having a literal blast. When designing your character's build, you have the freedom to pursue specific damage types and the choice to add utilities to help mold your playstyle. You get to specialize into 5 abilities, each providing their own node trees. From there, you can coalesce your choices not only through which abilities to specialize in, but further in your node trees to coalesce their potential. For example, I chose to go entirely fire damage on my Rune Master Mage, so I simply chose fire abilities and transformed any non-fire ones to fire, because there are abilities that can change to whichever element you choose using the ability node tree. And all this is good and well, but it's kind of rendered meaningless if there's no player-friendly way to respec your choices. But fear not, Last Epoch gets that right as well. If you decide to respec your points in ability trees, it's only at the cost of regaining the points respect by grinding more experience at an expedited pace. And if you want to specialize in a different ability even, you simply lose your points gained down to a minimum level threshold. As for the passive skill trees, it comes at the cost of gold. However, the prices are so negligible, it really never becomes an inconvenience. As I said before, class design is crucial in ARPGs of this kind, and with Last Epoch, each class and chosen mastery feels like a new experience, which adds to replayability in playing different characters and masteries, and flexibility without punishing the player. Because of this, Last Epoch makes for an experience that is not only enjoyable for hardcore players, but casual players alike. As I mention all the time on this channel, we do not use any builds, no guides, and no metas. We go in on our own accord, creating things that we want to create. And you know what? Last Epoch doesn't punish us for it. Because of its player-friendly designs and respecking, it allows for creativity and trial and error that I believe adds an immersive connection to the game and allows for a more enjoyable experience. Coming in at number 2 at 30% is crafting. Now, as I mentioned previously, crafting is very simple and easy to understand in this game, and it's a great way to supplement your build outside of your skill trees and outside of the idols you equip. So let's get into it. In Last Epoch, gear crafting is done through the Forge, which is accessible anywhere by hitting F on your keyboard. The system includes glyphs and runes, which are crafting items that alter the condition of your current craft. Players add affixes to gear using shards, and can also extract shards from gear using one rune called the Rune of Shattering. Now, of course, there are deeper details, but what I explained is, in essence, the entire knowledge you need to get started, and you can learn further from there. Forging in Last Epoch is the most concise crafting without sacrificing depth that I've experienced in a long time. Some other games love to pound you with layers of complexity because they believe believe jumping through hoops is better gameplay. Last Epoch, however, makes it very clear that it values your time without sacrificing effectiveness when it comes to the crafting. And speaking of valuing your time, that brings us to the third place finisher in our polling at 10%, and that is other. Now, other is just anything else that wasn't included in the polling that people can define more specifically in the comments. Other was tied with combat for third place, but I think other has a little bit more diversity and intrigue in terms of what people said in the comments. If you want other details on what I think about the combat, you can check out my other videos. First, we have a reason from another friend of the channel, Anthony, who is a reputable Last Epoch player as well. Anthony says, quality of life features make the game feel extremely customizable. Everything is thought through. Rare to find a game that the devs care this much about players. Now, first, Anthony references the quality of life features Last Epoch offers. I agree, this is a big one. Last Epoch is full of little quality of life features. The first one that comes to mind is the game guide within the game. By pressing G on your keyboard, you unlock an encyclopedia of information about the game and navigate it by typing in keywords. This is beautiful, and you know why? Because it makes playing a game in one window possible. When the answers for in-game information are available in the game UI, players do not need to open another window and leave the game to find answers. Going back to what I said about myself embracing games without using metas or guides, this helps alleviate the influence going to other sites for answers might have. And the other major quality of life feature that comes to mind is the loot filter. Now, our friend Xerox commented this one on the polling. The loot filter is the epitome of quality of life. It's a fully customizable in-game tool to help sift through items to allow the player to view only the gear and items they want to. Using priority stacking and character level windows, Last Epoch allows players to have agency over their loot drops, which can be a massive time saver. The game also allows you to copy loot filters to your clipboard and paste them in-game for easy access to more advanced filters that the community made. Loot filters are a minor addition with a high level of value. Yet another example of how Last Epoch is aiming to make a game for the players. And to return to and conclude with what Anthony said in his final sentence of his comment, rare to find a game that the devs care this much about players. 11th Hour Studios, the devs for Last Epoch, are transparent and they have made it very clear they are eager to work with the community. And I believe them. Through their activity doing weekly dev streams, being responsive on their own forums, Discord, and Reddit, this team is clearly on board with making a game for the people, with the people. Hell, one of the art leads even got a Last Epoch tattoo because he's so proud of what he's a part of. This studio since launch may not be perfect, but they sure as hell make it clear that they care and listen. Alright you guys, I think we've covered why Last Epoch sets itself apart from other top-down ARPGs. So that brings us to our final question. Who is Last Epoch for? Well, there's not going to be a list for this answer because I believe there is only one answer here, and that answer is everyone. From sweaty to casual, Last Epoch provides a streamlined approach that values quality of life features and strong gameplay and combat. Because 11th Hour Studios' willingness to work with the community and be transparent every step of the way, they are creating a game that can cater to both hardcore and casual players alike. But if I had to be specific, Last Epoch is for those who found Path of Exile to be too overwhelming and want more freedom of choice with builds, those who want to add a viable ARPG into their rotation. I mean, ARPG games shouldn't be played exclusively 365 days a year due to content cycles. Those who are on board with the clearly intoxicating movement I'm creating here with playing games without using guides or metas. And for those who need or prefer an offline mode. And of course, I want to hear from you guys. Who do you think Last Epoch is for? Leave your thoughts in the comments down below. Alright, you guys, that's gonna do it for this one. As always, thank you so much for watching. Now remember to hit like and subscribe if you've liked the video. And also, I wanted to leave you guys with a message from our sponsor. Have you ever felt lonely? Have you ever felt like you're just missing something in life, but you don't know what it is? Well, I think I might have an answer for you. This is the Kintzugi Discord. In the Kintzugi Discord, you get to communicate with Kintzugi himself and his fine community of beautiful people. The Kintzugi Tavern is waiting for you, friends. So be sure to join today. And enough with those ads, you guys. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.